Welcome to our channel. Today, we're counting down the top 100 facts that could save your life one day. These tips and tricks might just make all the difference in an emergency, so be sure to watch until the end. And remember, if you have any potentially life-saving tips of your own, drop them in the comments so we can all learn together. Let's dive in. This is the first part of the video where we share the first 50 life-saving facts with you. 1. Snakebite do's and don'ts. Forget what you've seen in the movies. Never attempt to suck venom from a snakebite or apply a tourniquet. Instead, move the victim to safety, keep the wound below heart level, and get them to a medical facility as soon as possible. And if you're bitten by a wild mammal, get the rabies vaccine immediately. It's one of the most lethal diseases out there. 2 broken bone basics. 3 car thermometers aren't perfect. Your car's thermometer may not be as accurate as you think. It can read temperatures slightly higher than they actually are, especially if the road radiates heat. So always give yourself a few degrees of buffer, especially when ice might be present. Blue light and sleep. If you want to improve your sleep, reduce your exposure to blue light before bedtime. Try keeping your phone in another room. It will help you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. Phone battery saver. Save your phone's battery by keeping it face down. This simple trick can be crucial in an emergency when every bit of battery life counts. Don't eat snow. In survival situations, don't eat snow for hydration. Your body will expend too much energy melting it, leaving you more dehydrated and colder than before. Start a fire with a battery. In an emergency, you can start a fire using a 9-volt battery and steel wool. Rub them together until you see sparks and place them beneath kindling for a life-saving campfire. Overloaded keyrings. A heavy keyring can damage your car's ignition over time. Reduce the weight to avoid costly repairs and potential breakdowns. The power of laughter. Laughter isn't just fun, it's healthy. It can improve blood flow, boost your immune response, regulate blood sugar levels, and help you relax. If you're caught in a rip current, don't panic or swim directly back to shore. Swim parallel to the shore until you're out of the current, then head to safety. If you need to catch your breath while escaping a rip current, try floating for a minute or so. Some rip currents may actually recirculate you closer to the shore. If you suspect you're having a heart attack, chew, don't swallow aspirin. Chewing it helps inhibit platelets faster, reducing blood clotting. If you come across a mountain lion, don't run. Back away slowly, maintain eye contact and make yourself look big. If it approaches, throw objects at it and get ready to defend yourself. Never go under a bowling alley pin setter, even as a joke. The machinery can cause serious, even fatal injuries. If the ocean suddenly recedes from the coastline, get to high ground immediately. This could be a sign that a tsunami is on the way. Tornado safety tip. If a tornado doesn't seem to be moving left or right, it's likely coming straight at you. Find shelter immediately. Stab wound protocol. If someone is stabbed or punctured by a sharp object, don't remove it. Apply pressure around the object to minimize blood loss, and keep the person calm and still until help arrives. Direct pressure for bleeding. If the object has been removed, apply direct pressure to stop the bleeding. It can take up to 10 minutes for blood clots to form, so stay calm and keep pressing. Check for electrical fires. If a room suddenly smells like fish, check your electrical outlets and appliances. That odor can signal overheating electrical components, which could lead to a fire. The bystander effect. In an emergency, people are less likely to help if they see others standing around. So, when asking for help, point to someone directly, make eye contact, and ask them specifically. Drunk driving danger zones. In the United States, most drunk driving deaths occur between midnight and 3 a.m. If possible, avoid driving during these hours. If it's brown, lay down. If it's black, fight back. If it's white, good night. Play dead with a brown bear, fight back with a black bear, and if you encounter a polar bear, well, good luck. If your drink tastes unusually salty, stop drinking it immediately. It could be spiked with GHB, a common date rape drug. If you wake up to the smell of gas, don't turn on any lights. A spark from the switch could ignite the gas, leading to an explosion. Square waves in the ocean, get out! Square waves in the ocean are a sign of powerful currents and rips. If you see them, get out of the water immediately. White pupil reflection. If one of your pupils reflects white in a photo, it could be a sign of a serious eye condition, like cataracts or even cancer. Beware of normalcy bias. Normalcy bias makes people underestimate danger even when the signs are clear. In an emergency, don't hesitate, evacuate quickly. In a pinch, condoms can be used to store water. They're incredibly elastic and can hold a surprising amount of liquid. Just make sure they're lubricant-free. During a thunderstorm, avoid standing under trees. If your hair stands on end, lightning is about to strike nearby. Crouch down with your hands over your ears and don't lie flat on the ground. If a power line falls nearby, don't walk or run. Shuffle or bunny hop to safety to minimize the risk of electrocution. Calling 911, give your location first. When calling 911, always give your location first. That way, even if the call drops, help can still find you. Emergency number 112. If you're traveling abroad, remember that 112 works as an emergency number in many countries, forwarding you to local services. Nose protection in water. When jumping into rivers or lakes, hold your nose to protect against dangerous amoeba that can infiltrate your body. If you fall into water from a height, enter feet first with your arms at your sides to minimize injuries. If you think someone's following your car, make 4 right turns to create a circle. If they're still behind you, head to a safe, populated area. If you disturb a beehive or wasp nest, don't head for water. They'll wait for you to resurface. Instead, run away as fast as you can. Bright colors, dangerous creatures. The more colorful and vivid an animal appears, the more likely it is to be poisonous. Many animals use bright colors as a warning sign to predators. So if you see something that stands out in nature, it's often best to admire it from a safe distance. Falling elevator? Do this. If you ever find yourself in a falling elevator, do not try to jump at the last second. That won't help. Instead, lie flat on your back and cover your face. This distributes the impact across your entire body and could increase your chances of survival. Lost in the wilderness? Walk downhill. If you're lost in the wilderness and can't retrace your steps, walk downhill. You're more likely to find a trail, road, or buildings. Plus, downhill paths often lead to water sources, which people tend to build around. If you stumble upon a fence, follow it. In the event of an emergency water landing, do not inflate your life jacket while still inside the aircraft. Doing so can hinder your movement and prevent you from reaching the exits. Instead, swim out first, then inflate your jacket once you're clear of the plane. Heat travels faster through liquid than gas. So if you want to stay warm in cold weather, keep yourself and your clothes dry. Moisture will sap your body heat much faster, making it harder to stay warm. Your brain can miss things that are in plain sight due to a phenomenon called inattentional blindness. This happens when you're focused on something else, like your phone. This can lead to accidents, like walking into objects or traffic, so stay alert. Feeling sick and don't want to throw up? Try humming. Humming can suppress the gag reflex, which can help prevent vomiting. It's a simple trick that can be surprisingly effective. The limits of the human body follow the rule of threes. You can survive 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter in extreme conditions, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. Keep these numbers in mind when planning survival strategies. The most common sign of a heart attack is chest pain or discomfort, often described as pressure or squeezing. It can also spread to other areas and be accompanied by fatigue, cold sweat, nausea, or shortness of breath. If you experience these symptoms, seek medical help immediately. Heart attacks in women. Women can experience heart attacks differently from men. While chest pain is still common, women are more likely to feel shortness of breath, nausea, and pain in the back, neck, or jaw. Don't ignore these symptoms. Get help right away. Black specks in stool? If your stool contains black specks, which might resemble coffee grounds, seek medical attention. This could be a sign of gastrointestinal bleeding, which requires immediate medical intervention. When walking downstairs, keep your hands out of your pockets. If you slip, you'll need your arms to grab onto something or break your fall. Keeping your hands free can help prevent serious injury. 911 is always free. You don't need to pay to call 911 from any phone. This includes payphones, so don't waste time looking for change in an emergency. Just make the call. Most fire-related deaths are caused by smoke inhalation, not burns. If you find yourself caught in a fire, stay low to the ground where the air is clearer and get out as quickly as possible. This is the end of the first 50 life-saving facts. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more life-saving tips and important information. Stay safe and see you in the next video.
Welcome to the second part of the video where we share the second 50 life-saving facts with you. Let's dive in. 51. Airbags and your feet. Never put your feet on the dashboard of a car. In the event of a crash, airbags deploy at hundreds of miles per hour. If your feet are up, you risk severe injuries that could be life-threatening. 52. Bleach and ammonia. A deadly combo. Never mix bleach with cleaning products that contain ammonia. The resulting vapors create chloramine, which can severely damage your respiratory system. Always read labels and use cleaning products safely. 53. Stuck on train tracks? If your vehicle is stuck on railroad tracks, get off the tracks immediately and run at a 45-degree angle towards the train. This helps you avoid flying debris if the train hits your vehicle. Also, look for emergency contact numbers near the crossing to notify the railroad company. Wagging tails. Not always happy. A wagging tail doesn't always mean a dog is friendly or happy. Dogs can also wag their tails when they're fearful or anxious. Always ask the owner before approaching or petting a dog. Flammable versus inflammable. Here's a quirky one. Both flammable and inflammable mean the same thing. They both indicate that something can catch fire easily. If you see these words, handle with care. Non-flammable is the term for items that are not easily ignited. Chemical burns, handle with care. Chemical burns are different from thermal burns, and you might not feel pain right away. If you come into contact with chemicals, follow the instructions on the label. Water might not be enough to neutralize some chemicals, so be sure to follow the correct procedure. Beach flags and what they mean. At the beach, pay attention to the flags. Purple flags indicate dangerous sea life, red flags warn of hazards like high surf, and double red flags mean the water is off limits for swimming. FAST, stroke awareness. Use the acronym FAST to identify stroke symptoms, F for face drooping, A for arm weakness, S for speech difficulties, and T for time. If you notice any of these signs, call emergency services immediately. Time is critical in stroke cases. Wild mushrooms are no-go. Many wild mushrooms are poisonous and some can even be deadly. Avoid eating any wild mushrooms unless you're absolutely certain they're safe. Even experienced foragers can sometimes mistake dangerous varieties for edible ones. After cold water immersion, if you fall into very cold water, it's crucial to warm up gradually. Dry off, dress in layers, and avoid heating up too quickly. Rapid warming can cause a phenomenon called afterdrop, where your core temperature continues to drop after getting out of the cold. Stranger danger, fight back. If a stranger tries to force you into their car, resist as much as possible. Shout for help and fight back. Your chances of escape decrease significantly if you're taken to a second location. Faced with a knife, run. Knives are dangerous even in inexperienced hands. If someone pulls a knife on you, don't escalate the situation. If possible, run. If you can't run, give them what they want. Your life is worth more than your belongings. Tell someone where you're going. Always let someone know where you're going, especially if you're heading into unfamiliar or remote areas. If you get lost, injured, or worse, this simple step can significantly increase your chances of being found and rescued. Gun safety at home. In 2021, unintentional shooting deaths accounted for over 4% of gun-related fatalities in the US, with many involving children. Always store firearms unloaded and locked away securely, preferably with child-proof safety measures in place. Grease fires. Don't use water. If a grease or oil fire breaks out in your kitchen, never use water to extinguish it. Water will only make the fire spread. Instead, turn off the heat and cover the pan with a lid to suffocate the flames by cutting off their oxygen supply. Pants as a life preserver. In a survival situation, you can use your pants as a makeshift life preserver. Tie the legs together and fill them with air, either by scooping air into the waistband or blowing into it. This can help you stay afloat until rescue arrives. Seatbelts save lives. About half of the passengers killed in car accidents in 2020 in the US were not wearing seatbelts. Buckling up is one of the simplest and most effective ways to protect yourself in a crash. Backpack whistles. Many backpacks come equipped with a built-in whistle. This small feature can be invaluable if you're lost or in distress and need to signal for help. Make sure to familiarize yourself with your gear before heading out. Camping safety tip number 69. Avoid trees, especially in windy conditions. Avoid setting up camp directly under trees. Falling branches or limbs, also known as widowmakers, can cause serious injury or even death if they come down on your tent. Quicksand survival tip number 70. If you find yourself stuck in quicksand, don't panic. You're unlikely to sink beyond your waist. To free yourself, slowly wiggle your legs to create space for the sand to move. Then lean back and try to float until you can safely pull yourself out. Depression tip number 71. Reach out for help. If you're feeling depressed, remember that it's okay to ask for help. There are numerous hotlines and resources available to support you. You don't have to go through it alone. Reaching out is a sign of strength. Head injuries. Don't ignore them. If you hit your head and briefly lose consciousness, seek medical attention as soon as you wake up. This could indicate a concussion or a more serious condition, like an epidural hematoma, where bleeding occurs between the skull and brain membrane. Toilets, surprisingly dangerous. Believe it or not, toilets cause more injuries each year than sharks. Around 40,000 people in the US are injured in toilet-related accidents annually, so be cautious of wet floors and other bathroom hazards to avoid slipping or falling. Distracted driving. Stay focused. Distracted driving is the leading cause of car accidents in the US. It only takes a second of inattention to cause a crash, so keep your eyes on the road and avoid using your phone while driving. Armed robbery. Don't resist. If you're confronted by an armed robber, don't try to disarm them. The trigger can be pulled faster than you can react. Hand over your belongings. Your life is far more valuable than any material possession. Estimating daylight. You can estimate the amount of daylight left by extending your arm and holding your hand out with your pinky finger on the horizon. Each finger width represents about 15 minutes of remaining daylight. 4 fingers equate to roughly an hour before sunset. Buried in an avalanche. Spit. If you're buried in an avalanche and can't determine which way is up, try spitting. Gravity will pull your saliva downward, indicating the direction you should dig to reach the surface. Smoking. It's still dangerous. We all know that smoking causes cancer, but it's worth repeating. If you smoke, consider quitting. It's one of the best things you can do for your health, and there are countless resources available to help you. Lock your doors. The harder it is for a burglar to enter your home, the less likely they are to try. Always lock your doors and be cautious when someone knocks. Just because the doorbell rings doesn't mean you're obligated to open it. Understanding horses' vision and safety. Horses have a unique vision system where they cannot see directly in front of or behind them. Their kicks are extremely powerful and can cause severe injury. Therefore, always approach a horse from the side, specifically between the head and shoulder, to ensure your safety. Performing the Heimlich maneuver on yourself. In case you're choking and alone, you can still perform the Heimlich maneuver. Start by forming a fist just above your navel. Place your other hand over the fist to increase pressure. Push your fist in and upward toward your diaphragm repeatedly until the object causing the blockage is dislodged. This technique can be life-saving in a critical moment. Men and pregnancy tests. A surprising indicator. If a man ever takes a pregnancy test and it comes back positive, it's a red flag. This unusual result could be a sign of testicular cancer. If this happens, seek medical attention immediately. The safest seat on a plane. In the unlikely event of a plane crash, where you sit matters. Statistically, the safest seats are near the back of the plane, in a middle seat. On the other hand, seats located in the middle of the aircraft on either side of the aisle are considered the most dangerous, with almost double the fatality rate. In a stampede, staying on your feet is crucial. Keep your hands at chest height to protect yourself and to avoid being crushed. Moving with the crowd rather than against it can also reduce the risk of injury. When trying to save someone from drowning, remember this. Reach or throw, don't go. Extend a long object for them to grab or throw something buoyant. Avoid approaching them directly unless you have a flotation device, as a drowning person can unintentionally pull you underwater in their panic. Even after someone is pulled from the water and appears safe, they can still be in danger. Dry drowning, where water remains in the lungs, can occur later and be fatal. Always seek medical attention after a near-drowning incident. Breaking a car window in an emergency. If you ever need to break a car window in an emergency, aim for the edges or corners. The center of the glass is usually the strongest and hardest to shatter. When traveling abroad, it's smart to save the emergency contact number for your country's embassy or consulate. They are available 24 hours a day and can assist in emergencies. Owning a gun can increase danger. Studies show that owning a gun makes you more likely to be shot during an assault, particularly if you attempt to resist the attacker. It's important to consider this risk and handle firearms with extreme caution. Be mindful of your social media activity. Thieves can use your posts to plan robberies, especially if you check in somewhere, signaling that you're not home. Keeping your whereabouts private can help protect your home. Alcohol withdrawal can be fatal, especially for those with long-term dependence. If you experience symptoms like tremors, insomnia, nausea, or anxiety during withdrawal, seek medical help immediately. Even if you haven't had symptoms in years, asthma doesn't completely disappear. It's essential to keep your inhaler handy and ensure your prescription is up to date. An unexpected asthma attack can be dangerous without proper treatment. Reporting a missing person. Contrary to popular belief, you do not have to wait 24 hours to report someone as missing. There's no waiting period, and reporting it as soon as possible increases the chances of finding the person safely. One symptom of hypothermia is drowsiness. If someone stops shivering and feels sleepy after being exposed to extreme cold, this is a dangerous sign. They need to get inside and warm up immediately, as they are at risk of losing consciousness. Closed doors can slow the spread of fire and smoke, offering valuable time during an emergency. Always sleep with your bedroom door closed and regularly check the batteries in your smoke alarms to ensure they are functioning correctly. If your accelerator pedal gets stuck or your car begins accelerating unintentionally, press the brakes firmly and shift the car into neutral. This simple action can help you regain control of the vehicle and prevent a dangerous accident. Having a fire extinguisher at home is crucial. Fires can happen unexpectedly, and being prepared with an extinguisher makes it much easier to contain a fire before it spreads. Preventing heart disease. Heart disease is the leading cause of death in the United States. The best prevention methods include eating a healthy diet, exercising regularly, maintaining a healthy weight, limiting alcohol intake, not smoking, monitoring your blood pressure, and managing diabetes if you have it. Reducing cancer risk. Staying healthy and avoiding smoking also reduces your risk of cancer, the second leading cause of death in the United States. Talk to your doctor about self-examinations and the appropriate screening tests for you. Your subconscious often picks up on warning signs that your conscious mind might miss. If something feels off or doesn't add up, trust your gut. It could be a life-saving instinct. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more life-saving tips and important information. Stay safe and see you in the next video.